Okay. So before I start my review, I want to point something out. Before I put this down. You see this? Cover of the DVD. It's an iconic image of the movie. This has nothing to do with anything in the plot. All this is during the movie they walk past, they're on like church grounds, they walk past these nuns, and one of them looks like this. I don't even know if the eyes are like that. But yeah, it's like maybe 5 to 10 seconds of the movie. It has no importance. And yet that's become an iconic image associated with this film and really has nothing to do with any of the plot at all. So, plot crunch for this movie. First of all, look, I've never seen this movie before. This is a first watch. There are going to be quite a few of these movies that are first watches in October, I should say. So, very excited to finally watch some movies that I haven't seen before. Could be good, could be bad. This is meh. And yeah, but of course I've heard of this movie. I just never, pulled the trigger on it until now. Doing the found footage stuff, I figured if I'm doing found footage, I have to include this. I also should have included Wreck, but it was too late. I could get the first one by itself, but like the first two are the only ones in there that are found footage. The other two aren't. But I have the American remake Quarantine, so that's good enough, I think. But yeah, and plot crunch for this one. In 1989, a woman calls and confesses to the murder of 3 priests, 3 clergymen, who were, she's put in an asylum for the rest of her life. 20 years later, her daughter, now all grown up, comes to visit her, and is filming a documentary trying to figure out if she was really possessed, because it turns out that the clergymen were performing an exorcism on her, and they died during that exorcism. And a few days after telling her this, her dad dies. Ooh, spooky. So now this is basically the journey to try and figure out what happened. Spoiler alert, they don't really figure out anything. At a certain point of the film, before the way through the film, the whole plot with the mother is dropped so we can then follow our main characters and they have their own little possession plot. And we never go back to the mom. So, and this movie has become notorious for the ending. And my God, this ending is terrible. Also, I'm going to point out right away before I forget it, the possession rules, how long it takes for someone to be possessed, a little sketchy. So, a little bit. They go to visit the mom. The mom's, talking at the scene with, look at it, the cuts connect, the cuts connect, the cuts connect, the cuts. They never do, by the way. But and she, upside down crucifixes, which aren't anti-Christian or not anything. They just have come up with that, I guess, to seem blasphemous. I don't know. But anyway, there's a point they're trying to convince that there's something else going on with the mom. They're taken to an actual exorcism where we get this ridiculous, over-the-top exorcism, which is kind of creepy until they decide to have period blood splurt onto the screen. Like, she starts freaking out and period blood comes out. Instead of having it come out of the mouth, it comes out of the vagina, and then it just, she has clothes on, so it's like, if you're a woman and you have your period and it goes, you're not wearing a maxi pad or anything, tampon, whatever. That sort of thing, and it spurts on the camera, right? Filming this is Michael, who's the only cameraman in the film, yet there are several points where they're filming from an angle that couldn't possibly be anyone. There's a scene where they're filming mom, where they're filming an interview with the priest, and Michael is clearly at one point, then there's another shot from the other side. And it's like, wait, who's filming that? Michael, is he moving like this all the time? And also, when they're in visiting the mom, there's Isabella's the only one that goes in, yet someone is filming her. And we have another view that's the security camera. But who's filming her? And then all of a sudden, you hear Michael's voice after everything has went down. It's like, wait, no, he didn't go in there with you. How? It's like, it feels like it's a voiceover, though. It's like, oh, wait a minute. We need to explain who's filming. That sort of thing. But it's just camera. Unexplainable camera. So, possession. So they try to do an exorcism on the mom, and the priest David gets possessed during this. As does Isabella. Now their possession takes overnight. It takes longer for Isabella, because I think it's the same demon possession, so she's affected, succumbing to it. But David gets possessed first and almost drowns a baby during a baptism, which in itself isn't possible because, you see, when you do a baptism, you put the baby in the holy water. If you're possessed by a demon, holy water burn you. So the fact that he's able to submerge the baby completely without burning up in pain is bullshit. Demonic possession. Holy water, not good for demonic possession. I know vampires too, but like demons too. Demons, holy water, demons. Yeah, I watch Supernatural. I know. Also, a good rock salt filled shotgun doesn't hurt either. But that's ghosts. Holy bullets. Who knows? But yeah, holy water gets the demons. It would burn him when he put it in the holy water. So I don't know, unless he switched it out, which we don't see. But Michael just so happens to go there. Be there when this happens. Like, oh, I'm going to go with you. And it's like, yeah, because if you didn't, we wouldn't see what happened. So he has to go with. But yeah, and after that, after that, stuff starts to go down. The cops show up, and David shoots himself, killing himself. And then Isabella completely gets taken over. Now, this also doesn't make any sense if he was waiting to completely take her over, and he can't do more than one, because we see later, Michael, they decide to take her and drive her somewhere. There are some things that are thrown away in this. Like, David did something years earlier that's never disclosed. Michael is on the phone to some other doctor, and that's never explained. Maybe it's like to make us think there was something else going with her, like she had a psychiatrist like her mother. I don't know. But it's never explained. But here, in the end, Michael is driving, and Isabella, possessed, leaps up, grabs him, breathes into his mouth, and he gets possessed. But unlike the other two, where it took overnight for it to work, his possession happens instantaneously. He unbuckles the seatbelt, crashes the car, and they all die, by the way. And then that's the end. And it pops up, send you to a website for more information, and it's like, no, fuck you. This is not an ending. I know this is a stereotypical ending for found footage movies where everyone dies. But yes, this did come out at the time where there was a plethora of found footage films, and almost every single one of them had this kind of ending where they have to die at the end, because that's what the Blair Witch Project did. That's what Paranormal Activity did, except for sort of, because one person survived. But still, originally, Katie was supposed to slit her own throat, but they changed that because we get the sequels. But yeah, that's Paranormal Activity, by the way. The ending just doesn't do anything for me. And by that, I was uninterested in the exorcism scenes. Like, the one that I did really get into was the one with the one before the period blood happened, earlier in the film. Thing with the mother is like, it's not an interest in me. Because it doesn't go anywhere. Like, they say they're going to take her to the States. They are denied. They're like, okay, because then we have to focus on getting to the end of this. Which, again, is a letdown ending. But like that whole first exorcism thing is pretty good until they decide to gore it up with period blood, and it's just, it had me. Yeah, it had me. It was freaking out. The contortioning, the freaky atmosphere, that kind of stuff. It was working until you decided to get a little gross, and nope. All that tension, all that freakiness, the scares that you were building, gone. Because you just had to be a little gross. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had her, like, blood squirt out, but not from her mouth, from down there? No, it's not cool. It's gross, and it takes you out of it right away. Also, the cold open is kind of freaky at first when you have the mom calling the police saying, I killed three of them. I killed three of them and stuff. And then you just have the typical scene, which they probably stole from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, where they just go through, that person's dead, and that person's dead, and over there you'll see another person's dead. And it's like, okay, you should have just ended with the call and then cut to the daughter explaining, that was my mother. 20 years ago, she committed those murders, and now I am going to see her for the first time in 20 years to try to figure out what happened. You didn't need the cops going through and saying, that person there, over there, another dead person. You need to do that. You just, And this movie was directed by William Brent Bell, who has done good horror movies after this, like The Boy, and most recently, Orphan, First Kill. He also directed The Boy, Brahms' The Boy 2, which we're not going to discuss that, but we know he can do stuff. He did another found footage werewolf movie this time called Where, which I kind of want to see, to be honest. Maybe in the future. I'm interested, but yeah. This, I'm gonna give it a middle of the road because it is interesting at first, but I could also say it's not worth your time because of the ending, but I'd say that about all found footage movies that end that way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll give it a middle of the road, but I don't know. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on The Devil Inside when it comes to it? Like, share, and subscribe. And next, we are done with found footage for now. There'll be a couple more towards the end of the month because I had to do this schedule around when I was receiving packages from eBay. So I put a bunch of other ones after this because I didn't get certain other ones until towards the end of the month. So we get 2 more towards the end of the month before my footage ranking. Yeah. Oh, there's also possibly one on the 19th. I'm not exactly sure if that's found footage. I've heard conflicting things. Oh, it's found footage. Oh, it might not be. It's not found footage, but it feels like it. That sort of thing. And if you haven't figured out, it's Chernobyl Diaries. I had that on my Vudu. I don't know. Everything I've seen about it says it's not found footage, but I've seen footage, and it looks like found footage. So I don't know. We'll get to that on the 19th. But for now, the next one, actually, I forgot to do the hint. The next review actually take us down under for a bit, for an adventure of sorts. So thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.